Okay, let's be real. When you hear alternative education, what pops into your head? A bunch of kids just like hanging out in a park strumming guitars instead of doing algebra? Maybe some kind of free-for-all where nobody's really learning anything? Look, I get it. We've all seen those movies, the ones that make alternative education seem like the wacky, less serious cousin of real school. But here's the thing, those stereotypes, totally busted. In this video, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of alternative education and, more importantly, dismantling some of the stubborn myths that surround it. Because, spoiler alert, alternative education isn't some fringe experiment for kids who can't hack it in a normal classroom. It's a vibrant, diverse, and dare I say, revolutionary approach to learning that's challenging the very definition of education as we know it. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the realities of alternative education, from its personalized learning approaches to its commitment to fostering the whole student. By the end of this video, you might just find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about education. Let's go. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the misconception lurking in the hallways of our collective consciousness. Alternative education is often unfairly painted as a last resort for problem students, a place for those who can't cut it in traditional schools. This couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, some alternative schools cater to students who haven't thrived in conventional settings. But guess what? Those students aren't problems to be solved. They're individuals with unique needs and learning styles who deserve an educational environment that supports their growth. And that's precisely what many alternative schools strive to do. But here's the kicker. Alternative education isn't just for students who've struggled elsewhere. In fact, a growing number of students are choosing alternative education from the get-go, opting out of the one-size-fits-all approach of traditional schooling. They're drawn to the flexibility, the individualized attention, and the emphasis on experiential learning that many alternative programs offer. Think about it. Some students learn best through hands-on projects, while others thrive in discussion-based environments. Some crave the freedom to explore their passions, while others need a more structured approach. Alternative education recognizes and celebrates these differences, providing a range of options to meet the needs of diverse learners. So, the next time you hear someone say, "Oh, they went to alternative school," don't jump to conclusions. Instead, ask questions. You might be surprised to discover that the student in question wasn't sent away, but rather chose a path that empowered them to learn and grow in a way that traditional education couldn't. Because here's the bottom line. Alternative education isn't about fixing kids. It's about providing every student, regardless of their background or learning style, with the opportunity to reach their full potential. And that's something worth celebrating. Let's tackle another pervasive myth, that alternative education is somehow less rigorous, less demanding than its traditional counterpart. Picture this. A bunch of kids lounging around, maybe painting murals or writing poetry, while their peers in real schools are sweating over textbooks and standardized tests. Sounds idyllic, right? But also maybe a little too easy. Well, I'm here to tell you that this image is about as accurate as a map drawn by a pigeon. The truth is, many alternative education programs are incredibly rigorous, pushing students to think critically, solve problems creatively, and engage deeply with the world around them. The key difference? It's not about rote memorization or jumping through hoops. Alternative education often focuses on deep understanding, application of knowledge, and the development of essential skills like collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. These are the skills that employers crave, and that students need to succeed in our rapidly changing world. Don't just take my word for it. Studies have shown that students who attend alternative schools often outperform their traditionally educated peers in areas like creativity, problem-solving, and social-emotional intelligence. And when it comes to college, many alternative schools boast impressive graduation rates and send their alumni on to top universities. So, how do they do it? Well, for starters, Many alternative programs employ a mastery-based approach to learning. This means that students progress at their own pace, mastering concepts before moving on, rather than being pushed through a standardized curriculum, regardless of their understanding. Moreover, alternative education often incorporates real-world experiences into the learning process. Think internships, community projects, and hands-on research. This not only makes learning more engaging and relevant, but also equips students with practical skills and knowledge they can apply outside the classroom. Next-gen learning is all about debunking these myths and showing the true value of alternative education. Now, let's address a concern that often pops up when discussing alternative education socialization. There's this idea that alternative schools are somehow lacking in social opportunities, that students will emerge from their non-traditional learning environments as awkward, unsocialized creatures. But let me ask you this. What does socialization really mean? Is it simply about being surrounded by a large number of people, regardless of the quality of those interactions? Or is it about learning to build meaningful relationships, communicate effectively, and navigate diverse social situations? If it's the latter, then alternative education might just be onto something. Because while it's true that alternative schools often have smaller class sizes, this can actually foster a stronger sense of community and create more opportunities for personalized social development. Think about it. In a smaller setting, students are more likely to be seen and heard. They have more chances to participate in discussions, collaborate on projects, and build relationships with their peers and teachers. And because alternative education often attracts students from diverse backgrounds and walks of life, it can provide a rich and stimulating social environment. Furthermore, many alternative schools are deeply embedded in their communities, offering students ample opportunities to engage with the world outside the classroom. From volunteering at local organizations to participating in community events, students in alternative settings can develop their social skills, empathy, and sense of civic responsibility. So, while alternative education might not look like the bustling hallways of a traditional high school, it offers its own unique and often richer opportunities for socialization. It's about quality over quantity, fostering genuine connections, and preparing students to navigate the complexities of our interconnected world. Time to dismantle one final myth: that alternative education lacks structure and discipline. Sure, some alternative schools have beanbag chairs, but the lack of structure? Totally unfounded. Alternative education embraces flexibility and student agency. But this doesn't equate to chaos. Many alternative programs have well-defined curricula, clear expectations, and support systems. It's about creating a learning environment that is both engaging and rigorous. So, there you have it. We've debunked 4 of the most pervasive myths surrounding alternative education, revealing it to be a vibrant, diverse, and often misunderstood approach to learning. It's not about fixing kids, taking it easy, social isolation, or a lack of structure. It's about meeting students where they are, nurturing their unique talents, and preparing them for a future that demands creativity, critical thinking, and a lifelong love of learning. As we've seen, alternative education isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a tapestry of different approaches, philosophies, and methodologies, all united by a common goal: to create a more just, equitable, and effective education system for all learners. Whether you're a student, a parent, an educator, or simply someone who cares about the future of education, I encourage you to approach alternative education with an open mind and a healthy dose of curiosity. What are your thoughts on alternative education? Have you had any personal experiences with alternative schools or learning environments? Share your thoughts, questions, and experiences in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to challenge our assumptions about what education can and should be.